and a variety of quality processed meats. For your breakfast, lunch, or dinner, Gillette's Meats makes it tastier. Our fresh deli offers daily pork hams, turkey breast hams, Italian sausages, sliced bacon, butt bacon, smoked pork chops, and smoked ham steaks. Our prime cuts, spare ribs, baby back ribs, pork chops, ribeye steaks, cowboy steaks. Our pack-cooked salpicon meat is a must-try. Grab our daily fresh crispy chicharron and ask for our Christmas ham. We carry it all year long. We do it to help you to make it much nicer, faster, and easier. We are open Monday to Friday from 7 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. On Saturdays from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. We are open on Sundays too from 8 a.m. to 12 noon. Call us at 322-3486. WhatsApp at 610-4061. Find us on Facebook and Instagram. We are Gillette Meats. Come, visit us. We are on number 18 San Antonio Road. Gillette's Meats. Meat makes the meal.
All Belizeans in Belize and around the world, stay tuned to the number one talk show, Despierta Belize con Sunny Baiza. Despierta Belize con Sunny Baiza for reliable information, dependable talk shows, breaking news, and the most impacting topics of discussion. Despierta Belize con Sunny Baiza on Power FM, Monday to Friday from 7 a.m. Let your voice be heard. Call 678-2324 or text 661-2721 or visit our website www.powerfm955belize.com. Start your morning with Despierta Belize con Sunny Baiza. Despierta Belize con Sunny Baiza. And get informed.
Home, sweet home, Belize, sweet home, Belize, sweet home, Belize.
Una vez más, buenos días, good morning to you, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Thank you for choosing Power FM. Cuando son ya en este momento, ya son las 7:32. It's 7:32 in studios. Good morning to you, Corozal, Malopkin. Manin, Belize. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Hey, good morning. Cayo, good morning, Cayo. Morning, San Ignacio, Santa Elena, Benque. All our friends there in the United States of America, the diaspora. Buenos dias, good morning to you. And thank you for choosing Power FM. Yep, it's another morning. It's another beautiful day in the country of Belize. Man, I'm telling you. And yes, fire again. Once again, the Cañeros and the Cañeras are back at it. I know I'm getting night much this morning. No voy a estar hablando mucho de ello. Porque sí les voy a decir que anoche recibí un informe de lo que es un press release, ¿verdad? Lo que el Belize Sugarcane Farmers Association ha mandado una respuesta a lo que BSI escribió y ya parece que van a comenzar una vez más con los desacuerdos, el ingenio BSI-ESR y lo que es el BCFE. I just want to say this morning that yesterday the Belize Sugarcane Farmers Association sent their press release, sent their findings with Hugh O'Brien, the findings of Hugh O'Brien, that the charges, the throughput charges and the other fees, port fees that were charged is something that was okay. But according to the rebuts from the BCFE, are not actually so. And they are still looking at other avenues. My big question is, will this sugarcane problem be solved one day? Will the cane farmers and BSI really work in harmony one of these days? That's the question for us to ask. La pregunta es, ¿llegará algún día cuando los cañeros y BSI puedan trabajar juntos, trabajar unidos? And then we saw another clip on the internet and Facebook where Hugh O'Brien was saying that he was a little bit disgusted in what happened in the press release that BSI released. And that's another question. I don't want to get into that. I don't have all the information as yet, so I will just hold that back for now. ¿Verdad? Y otra cosa que nos dimos cuenta que Hugh O'Brien aparentemente le dio una entrevista a un medio de comunicaciones y también estaba él un poco enojado porque dice que BSI no debía que sacar o decir ciertas cosas en lo que mencionaron en su release. Pero nosotros aquí en Power FM nos vamos a esperar. We're going to wait. We're going to sit back. We're going to wait. I always say this. When the elephants are fighting, the only thing that gets trampled is the grass. Cuando los elefantes están peleando, lo que se machuca es el zacate. Nosotros tenemos cosas diferentes para platicar esta mañana. We have different things to discuss. I have a very good friend with me this morning. Man, this guy is full. And you know what? He loves this country. He loves Belize. With me this morning is Paul Budget. Paul, good morning to you. Buenos dias, Paul.
Good morning. How's it going? Thank you for having me.
Paul, it's wonderful. Paul, we talked a bit, and I was learning from you. You know, all the good things that you have in your heart, the love that you have for this country, Belize. And tell me, who is Paul?
Well, I'm just a country boy out of Oklahoma. I grew up in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and spent a lot of time around a lot of real wonderful people that worked very hard, farms around us, people that were good-hearted, strong integrity, kept their word. A handshake was how you did business deals. And I think that's what kind of led me into the first runs when I got to Belize, because in some of the world that I come from in America, that started kind of washing away in the 80s and the 90s, and then was almost completely, gone by the time the 2000s hit. In Belize, I feel like I'm back in the 70s, because you still have people waving at each other, hitchhiking and picking up people because they need a ride. It's like yesterday we were turning over the bridge to go towards Honey Camp, and there were about 9 kids sitting there on the corner with looked like a mom and dad and needing a ride, and everybody jumps in the truck. And it's a wonderful place to be. It's probably one of the most lush, environmentally driven countries I've ever been around. It's a small country, which makes it even more lovely, with a little over 400,000 people. So the main thing is being able to be around people like you and the rest of the people here.
I remember asking you, Paul, when was your first visit to Belize?
Well, I'll tell you, that was interesting, because I was chief of marine operations for LJT National Geographic when I moved to California to start working on the Pacific, and started working at Catalina on kelp bed resurrection. And they asked me where did I want to start my other tenure of my work in the oceans, and I said the Caribbean. I want to go to Belize. And so I ended up at Ambergris Key, and I started diving that area of the Mesoamerican Reef, the second largest reef in the world, and fell absolutely in love. I think coming from California, where we had to dress up like Navy SEALs and all of the equipment we had to prepare to put on. Once I got to Belize, it was really the first time that I got to just put a bathing suit on, put my aqua lung on, and jump into the water. So that helped me fall in love even more, that I didn't have to spend so much time getting ready. But all of the people here just were so nice when we arrived, and that's really how it started.
Wow. Okay, Paul, and then you said that what you told me when I said, now I'm making Belize my home. I love this place. There's nothing that will take you back to Tulsa, Oklahoma. Nothing will take you back to California. No. This is your home.
Yeah, I'll die here. I'll die in Orange Walk. No ifs, ands, or buts. We were very fortunate. It was a little bit of a struggle because we're not wealthy people. We're just kind of farm people. But we took a wild shot. We knew this property had been down and not used for a long time, and we were probably getting into a bunch of stuff that we didn't realize, which we did. And we wanted to also, one of the things I've always teached and preached around the world was being off the grid. Stop pulling resources from the power grid, might you say. And you know how bad that is here in Belize.
Oh, yes.
I mean, that's a whole nother story within itself. So we have now made the leap. I never wanted to be that guy that preached to the world that, don't use up resources, don't use plastic, conserve your water since we're, short on water on the planet, and not be doing it. So now I can firmly say that we are completely living off of the sun and well water and making it the best we can.
Yeah, that's so true, Paul, and definitely people need to understand this a little bit more, of how this beautiful country is, because this country is blessed. I keep on saying this over and over again. Belize is a really blessed country. I say this is the heart of Central America. It's the pearl of the Caribbean. It's the hidden gem of the world.
I couldn't say it better myself.
Yeah. So this is where we are. Paul, we were talking about the reefs, and I have always seen photographs, I have seen movies, documentaries, and how beautiful under the sea is. And one of the things that you were talking about, that you have seen some stress already occurring on our reef. Do you want to share something about that?
I actually do. So let me lead the path. So years ago, when we started noticing that, obviously the Great Barrier Reef was 90% dead and it had bleached out completely. One of the things that, has always puzzled scientists is why. And it's always been, the carbon footprint, greenhouse gases, all these stories made up without not a lot of scientific proof. Don't get me wrong, that could probably open doors on a lot of conversations and a lot of resistance. But the bigger part of it is that in Florida, mile marker 105, Molasses Bay and Five Finger Bay is a beautiful, beautiful area in the world to dive. It's near Key Largo, one of the top 10 dive spots in the world. But the coral reefs were dying, plus all the hurricane damage. And, we suffer storms here in Belize also, and not as much as in Florida. But we were told, as I was looking for funding, to not worry about the coral reef systems because it takes millions of years for them to rebound and to regrow. Well, I didn't believe that. I saw these dive companies taking snorkelers out and divers, and they're fin kicking and breaking off coral reefs, stuff that is the most beautiful, God's gift to the world. And it also provides oxygen for the planet. That was the other part, because our oxygen levels have been depleted. So I was told that we wouldn't be able to get grants, we'd get no funding. And so I started pulling money together from things I was doing on radio, getting sponsors, and we started planting coral reefs. We planted 157,000 corals in a 2-year period by hand. We took broken fragments of coral from the floor of the ocean that happened that day. I actually started working for $12 an hour, going out as a dive tour instructor so I could pinpoint the areas they were damaging the reef. Then we would go back when I got off work at 4:30, and we'd take those, like a crate that holds your Coca-Cola, and we would go down and we would pull the broken fragments, little baby corals, little baby pieces, and we built a tree underwater at 60 feet, and hung them where the nutrients of the flow of the current of the ocean would hopefully attach themselves to it. And the first time we screwed up, it killed everything. They were already going to die anyway. So I moved it up 20 feet, and photosynthesis kicked in, and the actual coral started to grow. So then we built 2 more trees, and we took them from about a 3-month state to a 6-month to a 9-month. And then we got with 3M, and they created a non-toxic epoxy, because that was the key. We've got broken fragments. How do you put it back on the reef? You don't just go throw it on top of it. And so we took little archaeology hammers, and we scraped little areas on the reef that were dead and replanted those on. Lo and behold, we started regrowing corals.
Wow.
And so then that expanded itself into Belize. And so we could use more help. You know, obviously, we're not rich people, so we have to rely on funding, on grants, and different people that are interested in helping in the ocean. And one of the things, so I'm going to bring it forward, that was back in, 2006, 2007? And so it's been a long run getting here. And I wasn't able to move to Belize permanently. I was only able to work here at a week at a time, so I knew I wasn't ever going to be able to make that big of a difference. I would have to, at some point, make the jump to live in paradise and be right here in God's land permanently to make a difference for Belize, the future of Belize, and the future of the kids in Belize. And so we ended up making the jump, made the move, but we don't have the resources here that we need from the government, which I'm hoping the Sustainable Blue Economy, which we work with. We're United Nations ambassadors, so we work around the world, and the initiatives of the United Nations, there's 17 SDGs. Look that up, people. And we are number 14, life underwater.
Okay. Paul, I would say, you know, here in Orange Walk, where we are a few miles, a few hours from the sea.
Yes.
And definitely this tongue of ours, this northern part of our country, is buried in sugar cane. If you have noticed, we are the sugar belt of this country.
That's right.
And farmers have tons of problems growing their sugar cane, and even have this back and forth, if I could say, with the mill. We just took out some new releases came out. I was just introducing that to the farmers. I don't want to get into that much, but my thing is, what does the reef? How can Orange Walkenians, how can us here in Orange Walk benefit from the reef? You know, we always hear about saving the reef. Don't throw your plastics, put it in the bin. These things can flow to the river. The river takes it all the way to the sea, and to the reef. Tell us a bit, how can the reef actually help us here inland? How can what benefit is there for us in trying to save the reef when maybe our industry is sinking down? How can that relate to us?
Well, there's a duality there. How do you like breathing?
How do I like breathing? I love to breathe, Paul.
Amazing. I do too.
I love to breathe.
It's awesome. I love oxygen. So 80% of our oxygen comes from the ocean. 20% comes from land around the world. So every single person that's listening, if you love to breathe.
If you love to breathe, that is it.
That's it.
That's it. You love to breathe.
It's a simple math equation. If you love to breathe, then watch the plastics you put in. It's called photodegradation. So if you've got plastic that you see and you have not picked it up, and that is photodegrading into our soil. Obviously, here I'll tell you for the sugar cane, that is a serious issue because it's called leaching. You have a water table, and that plastics leach down into the water table. You think about the deepest areas of the oceans of the world, which is 26,000 feet.
26,000.
And so they have found plastics at the bottom of that 26,000 feet. We have infiltrated every single particle, molecule of water around the world now.
Wow.
So for our sugar cane, for the future of our kids, for the future of the oxygen of the planet. By the way, oxygen levels are about 8.5% in the ocean right now. When it hits 5%, 90% of the ocean will die overnight, which means we go on the extinction list as human beings. So it is critical. I know it's out of sight, out of mind, and it feels like, what will one person be able to do to make a difference? Well, let me tell you something. This is a real simple equation. If every single person picked up one piece of trash they saw a day, especially in Orange Walk, we would eliminate all of the leaching and all of the photo degradation of the plastic laying around within about 6 months. We would become one of the cleanest areas in the world, just from a collective effort from all of us that love Orange Walk, love Corozal, love our sugarcane, love our people, love the future health of our children, by just picking up one piece of trash a day and putting it in a proper receptacle.
Wow, esta mañana estoy hablando yo con Paul Budget, y Paul es una persona que se ha enamorado de Belize. Viene de Oklahoma, trabajó en California, ha estado en varias actividades en su vida, visitó Belice y se enamoró de Belice. Y Paul está aquí hablando de lo que es el Recife, y está diciendo que el Recife necesita bastante ayuda. El Recife es algo que es interesante. Mi pregunta mía a Paul es, ¿y qué nosotros aquí en Orange Walk tenemos que ver con el Recife hasta allá afuera? What do we have to do with the reef? We want sugarcane. Nosotros queremos caña y entregar caña y conseguir buen pago para nuestra caña. Eso es lo que quiere el norteño. Pero la pregunta que Paul me preguntó, ¿te gusta respirar? Do you love to breathe? ¿Cómo que no? How not? ¿Cómo voy a decir que no? ¿A quién no le gusta respirar temprano en la mañana, lo fresco, lo veo? Y está diciendo que 80% del oxígeno viene de lo que es el océano. 80% de oxígeno viene del océano. That is very important, Paul. You know, I sometimes I know that many people ask the question, why DC? Why worry? On the Honorable Minister of Infrastructure Development and Housing, the Honorable Julius Espat, sometimes he says that he feels so ashamed.
Yes.
When he is going in areas and we can see so much garbage, so much garbage that they're thrown anywhere. I always would encourage the people, when they go to the shop to buy, ask for a small plastic bag. Because they ask you, do you want a plastic bag? Sometimes we'll say, no, it's okay. No, take the plastic bag. Take the plastic bag, and when you finish what you're eating, your tacos, your juice, your panades, your whatsoever, your napkins, you put that in that little bag, and you tie it properly, and just put it right by your foot, okay? And when you get off the bus, you get off your truck, you get off your car, you find the nearest garbage can, and you put it in the garbage can. It's as easy as ABC, Paul.
It actually is. And here I'm going to even amplify that a little bit, is that if you've got what we call green bags, and we're working on sponsorships right now to be able to hand these out for free like we have around the world, is that you don't want to accept plastic. Now, if that's all you've got the ability to do, and you don't have a green bag, like a material bag or something that you can reuse over and over and over again, which we on the planet all have to do. But in the event, just like you had said, is that if you've got a plastic bag and you've got your styrofoam little box that your food came in, and you've got your napkins and your straws, do put it in that bag. Wait until you get off that bus and get it in a proper receptacle. But if you want to really make a difference and teach your kids properly, you want to be able to use a reusable green bag, is what we call them. And hopefully over the next 6 months, we're going to be able to have enough of them that every person in Orange Walk, we will give one to. That way you don't have to worry about purchasing, and you'll be responsible individual in your community to make Orange Walk and surrounding areas the cleanest areas in the world.
Save the reef. That's what we want to talk about,
Yeah.
How important this is. But so easy, Paul. So understandable. You love to breathe. Maine. Who doesn't love to breathe? Who doesn't love to breathe? Sometimes at night I have said after that COVID, I don't know why, but I have a blockage on my left nose. And man, when that thing hit me, it's one of the ugliest things. And just imagine if both of them could just cover on me. Man, I want to be by the sea. What? I want to be by the sea. Paul, when you say that, that's where you get everything.
Absolutely. But
That's
the beauty.
where you get everything.
Yeah.
We are speaking to Paul Budget, and definitely we are talking about the reef. Paul is telling us about the reef. Let's learn more about the barrier reef in this beautiful jewel of ours, Belize. Tell us more about the sea. Tell us more about the reef. We in Orangewark want to know.
Absolutely. Well, one of the things we're going to put together that I've done all over the world are cleanups. And so we want to teach our kids the proper way that how the future is going to pan out. We obviously know for any of us that are in our 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, we were around a world that was not polluted with plastics back in the day. Those plastic companies didn't evolve until really around the 70s and the 80s. And then everybody starts, the plastic machine kicked in. Everything's plastic. And these sources that don't break down very well. And so one of the key things I believe is to start these cleanups where you feel like you're giving back to your community. Even 10 minutes is a critical element, which leads to one thing. Our children's books, I've got a children's book series out. You can get that book for free, by the way, on Amazon. I'll make sure that you get the link for that.
Yeah.
But it's Squirrelsville. So if you go to Amazon and look up Squirrelsville, it will pull up the amazing lush forest town of Squirrelsville and the new book that just came out on Sunday called A Day at the Beach. And so the first book, because I'm a rescuer, I'm an emergency responder, I teach it from air to land and sea. I've donated a lot of my time to saving other people's lives. I grew up in Tornado Alley, so at 18 years old, I was saving lives from tornadoes, fires, and floods. And so it was one of the greatest parts of my life when people's lives were erased. We were the first teams to arrive to help put your life back together. And so I learned what community actually meant. And what happened in the world is our communities got separated through these wars and fights between corporations, and just like you were talking about with the sugarcane and some of the organizations where there's resistance, which we're now in a part of the planet and time that resistance needs to go away. We need to come together, because I'll tell you this, when COVID hit, that should have been the biggest learning lesson for all of us. We were reduced down to nothing. We were reduced down to the human beings we are without any access to any of those creature comforts, as they call it. And so you made it. You were okay through that. You found the way to adapt to that space. But then, boom, they open the gate up and we just start devouring everything again. We start wiping out our communities, our planet. I've watched so many people throw trash out of the back of their truck as they're driving along, which is just atrocious. It's a horrible thing to watch, that nobody cares. Those people don't care what they're leaving behind. They've just given up hope, or nobody's taught them. So we want to educate. I think that's the biggest thing in this conversation is education. Is that we help people to understand the value of their life, their kids' lives, and what you need to do to protect those lives. There are certain behaviors that have to shift for that to become a movement. Just like you were talking about the sugarcane, because as you and I, you've got a property near ours out at Honeycamp. And so the sugarcane industry is prominent here. We have to do everything collectively together to make sure our economy thrives, because that is our economy here. And so I do actually have some ideas, and I want to learn more from you on the space of how we can make the sugarcane industry better, what's missing. You know, what do we need to do to come together to make it better? Even if it's little steps at a time, those little steps become monumentally large over a period of time. That's called compounding. It's the same as save a penny today, you'll have 2 pennies tomorrow.
That's so true.
2 pennies the next day equal 4.
That's so true.
Hey, I see the books behind there. Hey.
Yeah, that's the Squirrelville's books. You can find it on Amazon.
Yes.
And they're for free.
Yes, we give these away.
they're for free.
And so there will be a point. One of the things we are trying to do is set a price point where we will sell them, because all of that goes back to our community. And so that way we find areas like Hope Haven over on the island of Ambergris Key. We've donated time to those kids. Those are orphans, and they have a very tough time and underfunded. We want to be able to help in the schools. So Squirrelsville 1, the amazing forest town Squirrelsville, is about fire safety. As we know, fires are one of the most horrific things, and kids are burned every single day. So it teaches community and coming together, and it's got teachers in there. It also of how important it is that our firemen, our emergency responders, our police officers are very important parts of the community, and we need to support them, and that's also in there. And the mayor. So you have this community, and that's, as in Squirrelsville, is the same as humans. We have a community, and we have entities that work together to make it better. And it shows that in the harmony of that book. But the second book is about our discussion today, about the coral reef systems, the plastics coming together, what 10 minutes of pulling 4 or 5 people together, how much you can actually pick up off of a beach to save another animal, to save the future. There's a lot of education in there. And then we're releasing our 50-page educational program in English, math, science, mind games, where you can actually start using your mind instead of playing games on your phone. We have coloring books. And we're going to be releasing all of this over the next couple of weeks. We have a new game that's going to be coming out that a team put together that's about eye-mind coordination. And it's about doing good things. So we're trying to inspire others to aspire to their best selves. And here's the beauty of the books. It's a 3 to 5 range, but here's the difference. All of the parents that read these books to their kids, this has valuable lessons for you too.
For the parents.
Yes, sir. Because here's the one thing I found out. Usually adults, their behaviors are so bad, it's hard to get them to change their behaviors. But when your kid's saying, Mommy, Daddy, you put the trash in the wrong receptacle, all of a sudden you're held accountable, and you don't want to look like you're destroying something to your kid. You want to be a hero to your kid, not a zero.
Yeah, you know, Paul, I always say this, and I have mentioned it several times on the radio. In the days, in the 60s in Belize, the parents never thought that women, the females, should go to school.
Yes.
They wanted to invest on their sons. They wanted to invest in the males, because they would say, you know what? Schooling is expensive. And if I send my daughter to school, and then there comes this, as she graduates or finish her high school, then this guy comes around and takes the daughter. So the dad's investment is gone. That's the way how they looked at it.
Yes.
And females didn't have the opportunity to study back in the 50s, 60s in Belize, because not that they were not smart to do,
yes,
but parents never want to invest on females. And I always talk about my mom. My mom, it was 6 of us, and my mom would sit around that table, and I can tell you, she went through college with all of us.
No kidding.
So when you talk to her,
yeah,
she can tell you, they always say, Miss Melva, man, I study with my children. And she sat with each one of us, like, we don't understand this. She would sit down, she would read, she would do. And now I can see that with my wife and my daughter. when my daughter is studying right now, and my wife would sit with her on the table when she comes from work, and she would sit down and doing. She does accounting. She works at a firm. She has been doing those books for many years, balancing numbers. But she is finding things that are different. Let's see the terms that they would use, the term that they would use in accounting. And she said, yeah, I can do this, but I didn't know that this, you called it. I sometimes I would hear the accountant would see certain words, and she would say, what is he talking about?
Yeah.
But being on the table, sitting down with my daughter, doing some work in the house, then she would say, and this is how parents and kids will do with Squirrelsville, because
Absolutely.
definitely they will be learning.
Well, that's one thing I want everybody to do, because it's kind of an urgent element. We need to learn and we need to educate as soon as possible. But we're giving the book away for free all week, okay? And it will be low cost when we put it out there, because we obviously don't profit off of our book. We put it back into the next publication. By the way, there's 26 books that will come out over a 13-year period. So it's 2 books a year. And so this one, you all go to Amazon and download this book for free. Read it to your children. What you'll learn from it is viable to the conversation we're having about the reef, cleaning up things around the reef, and making our community better. And if you have a hard time getting that book, get with either one of us, and we'll make sure you get your hands on it. We also, here's one of the bigger things. Anybody attached to the schools as a teacher or any of that, we will come out and we will do the educational program, and we'll do outings with the kids. Whatever it is, we will come in. They call me Uncle Paul, and we'll put programs in place that will help elevate the children, educate the children, and have fun at the same time.
All right. So you hear that, teachers? You heard the invitation that Paul is giving you all. And Paul has already been reaching schools in Belize. We're going to do a short little break. When we come back, I want to hear from Paul which school, how these children are benefiting, how the kids are having more fun, and how the environment is being taken care of just by squirrels a day at the beach. We'll be talking more about that when we come back. But first, let us do this from Belusa. Belusa Energy. It's already 8:06 here in the country of Belize. That's 8:06 minutos. Y vamos a hacer esto esta mañana. Gracias siempre por la fiel sintonía.
In the heart of Belize's corporate landscape, Belusa Consulting Limited is your trusted ally. From business registration to land title services, we navigate complexities with precision and care. Our team ensures legal compliance and reliable support for your needs. But we are more than consultants. We're guardians of your legacy, ensuring your dreams endure. Contact Belusa Consulting Limited today at 302-3239 for a thriving future. Trust in us, your partners in prosperity.
En el corazón del paisaje empresarial beliceño, Belusa Consulting se ha establecido como su aliado de confianza, desde regir sus empresas hasta servicios titulares para sus tierras. Nuestra compañía atraviesa las dificultades de la burocracia con mucha precisión y cuidado. Nuestro equipo le garantiza la confianza y legalidad que usted se merece. Belusa no solamente es su asesor de bienes y negocios, nosotros igual le ayudamos a preservar su legado a través de generaciones. Contáctenos ahora al 302-3239 para un futuro próspero.
In the heart of Belize's corporate landscape, Belusa Consulting Limited is your trusted ally. From business registration to land title services, we navigate complexities with precision and care. Our team ensures legal compliance and reliable support for your needs. But we are more than consultants. We're guardians of your legacy, ensuring your dreams endure. Contact Belusa Consulting Limited today at 302-3239 for a thriving future. Trust in us, your partners in prosperity.
días una vez más, Orange Walk. Buenos días, Corozal. Buenos días, Belize. Thank you once again for choosing Power FM. Good morning to you, Dels Martinez. It's a beautiful Tuesday. Thank you so much. Ana Marie, muchas gracias, Miss Cocom. Benke, good morning to you. Buenos días hasta ahí en el Benke. Guadalupe Castaneda, all the way in Virginia. Wow, good morning to you. Miss Barbara McLaughlin in Miami. She is my nephew. Is a marine biologist. Works off of Burgess. The reefs are in danger. He just went back to Belize after working out at Key Largo, learning how to save coral. Yeah, that's a problem. Sorry, that is happening all over, and we have lost the largest barrier reef in the world, which is in Australia. That definitely we have lost that one, and the largest living barrier reef is here in the country of Belize, and that's why people like Paul and many are looking at it, Milo and Letty, to save the reef, to have this reef, and all of us can do a part. You know, one thing he said: "Do you love to breathe? Do you love to breathe?" Definitely, we all love to breathe. Son las 8:10. It's 8:10 in studios. We got to say once again, good morning to you, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. We're going to see what the weather report will be telling us. Vamos a ver qué nos indicará ya el pronóstico del tiempo, gracias a nuestros patrocinadores, Old Master Rums, Belize's finest liquors. Old Master, the spirits of Belize.
Well, this about the Old Master Gold Rum. The rum that hold the crown. The rum that run the town. Get it while I sing along. Watch this. Some gold rum come to town, Old Master lick them down. Some gold rum come around, Old Master stand in rum. Some gold rum fade the foam, Old Master climb the home. When parties start to bump, Old Master gold the rum. When the people having fun, Old Master gold the rum. When having a barbecue, Old Master gold for you. When having a picnic, Old Master gold for it. You're sipping your mixed drink, Old Master gold lit. Some gold rum come to town, Old Master gold the crown. Some gold rum come to town, Old Master gold.
Old Master Rums, Belize's finest liquors. Old Master, the spirits of Belize. At this time, we join the National Met Service of Belize for this morning's weather forecast for today, May the 14th, 2024, as of 6:01 this morning. We join forecaster on duty, Tariq Matthews, at the National Met Service of Belize. Good morning to you, Senor Matthews. Buenos días.
Good morning, Belize. Fair, hot, and dry weather conditions will continue to affect the country. The 24-hour forecast, mostly sunny, hazy, and hot today, and clear to partly cloudy tonight. No rain is expected. The maximum temperatures for today will reach 91 degrees Fahrenheit along the coast, 102 inland, and 84 up in the hills. There's a heat alert in effect for residents, especially those inland, are advised to stay hydrated and avoid outdoor activities as much as possible, especially during the afternoon hours. The low temperatures for tonight will be around 83 degrees Fahrenheit along the coast, 77 inland, and 70 up in the hills. The winds from the open sea will be from the east at 10 to 20 knots, and the sea conditions will be moderate. A low tide will occur this morning at 8:13, a high tide this evening at 2:20, another low tide tonight at 10:22, and another high tide early tomorrow morning at 4:42. The sun rose this morning at 5:20 and will set this evening at 6:17. The moon will rise this morning at 11:13 and will set just after midnight at 12:26. In the fire risk forecast for today, the risk for forest or bushfires will remain high. The outlook for Wednesday and Wednesday night is for similar weather conditions. With that, we end this morning's forecast from the Belize National Met Service.
Thank you so much, there, Tariq Matthews, for this morning's weather report. And definitely there is alerts heat alerts in the country of Belize, especially to us here inland in Orijuac. Una vez más, solo recordando que hay alerta en calor y siempre se le pide al público que estén tomando bastante agua. Recuérdense que más después de mediodía es a donde está afectando lo que será la calor. Por favor, si no tienen que salir, no salgan, estar abajo del sol. Siempre busquen sombra y tomen mucha agua. Alerta de calor que estará hoy en el país de Belice, como estuvo ayer, y tal vez así seguirá mañana. Por favor, vamos todos a cuidarnos. Todavía no hay señas de lluvia. No signs of rains as yet. Definitely it seems that we are going to a long drought, ¿verdad? Ya está los milperos que se alistan. Esperamos un poquitito más. Son ya las 8:15. It's 8:15. We got to say thank you once again to the National Med Service of Belize for this morning's weather forecast, and of course to our sponsors, Old Master Rums, Belize's finest liquors. Old Master, the spirits of Belize.
Well, this about the old master gold rum. The rum that hold the crown. The rum that run the town. Get it while I sing along. What's this? Some gold rum come to town, old master lick them down. Some gold rum come around, old master stand in rum. Some gold rum fade the foam, old master climb the home. When parties start to bump, old master hold the rum. When the people having fun, old master hold the rum. When having a barbecue, old master gold for you. When having a picnic, old master gold for it. You're sipping your mixed drink, old master gold lily. Some gold rum come to town, old master hold the crown. Some gold rum come to town, old master hold the crown. Some gold rum come to town, old master hold the crown. Some gold rum come to town, the number one rum in town. Some gold rum come to town, old master lick them down. Some gold rum come around, old master stand in rum. Some gold rum fade the foam, old master climb the home. When parties start to bump, old master hold the rum. When the people having fun, old master hold the rum. When having a barbecue, old master gold for you. When having a picnic, old master gold for it. You're sipping your mixed drink, old master gold lily. Some gold rum come to town, old master gold the crown.
Old Master Rums, Belize's finest liquors. Old Master, the spirits of Belize. Son ya las 8:17. It's 8:17 here in studios. We got to say once again, good morning to you. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing this morning, we are with Paul Budget, and of course we are learning so much about the reef, about the oceans. Man, how do I love breathing? I'm telling you, we have to do it that way. I think that's why old Judge Price used to go pick up all them plastics, I think that's why, Paul, we had the man that started the revolution in Belize, Mr. George Price. Have you heard of Mr. Price?
Of course.
Yeah, Mr. Price was a man that, started after the British devaluated the Belize dollar back in 1949. The 1st of January of 1950, it was officially known to Belizeans that the Belizean dollar and the American dollar was to par, 1-to-1. And one morning to the next, it was already 2-to-1. And there the revolution started. But Mr. Price was a very weird man, He was the first premier of Belize, the first prime minister of Belize. And Mr. Price would go to church every morning in Belize City. He lived about 200 to 300 yards from his home to the church. And when Mr. Price would be walking to church, if he saw garbage, he would be picking up garbage. The Prime
Brilliant.
Minister of Belize, picking up
Brilliant.
garbage.
Exactly.
The first Premier of Belize, picking up garbage. You know, and many people are inspired for what Mr. Price did. And many people say, you know what, if Mr. Price can pick up the garbage, why can't I
Exactly.
pick up the garbage? You know, Paul, and I know we are learning so much about healing, so much about ourselves, so much about life, you know, and definitely this is what we are here for in Belize, to save this country. I said earlier, we are the heart of Central America. We are the pearl of the Caribbean. We are the hidden gem of the world. And I know San is seeing this. I mean, I'm learning this from when we listen to people, you know, when people are saying, what, I never knew this in Belize. When Paul came to Belize and Paul said, you know what, man, this is my home. When I hear Paul says, I love this place, and hey, I'm going to die in Belize. Paul, you're giving everything for this country.
I love it. I have to, because I'm more Belizean than I am anything.
You're more Belizean than anything, you know.
And that's from where my family hails from, because I'm about 67% French. But I grew up in Oklahoma as a hick, so I guess I'm a frick. Yeah. But the bottom line is, is that I'm more at home. I'm more. I feel more family love here in Belize than anywhere in the world. With National Geographic, I got to travel to 100 countries. So I was able to see so many cultures and so many division lines in governments and against the people. And this is the hidden jewel. And I want it to remain as hidden as possible so it doesn't get overrun, especially by corporate. But bottom line is that we work together. So I plan on living to 90 or 100. I hope I pull off 100, but every single day will be about making Belize better. What can we do to inspire others to aspire to their best selves? Just like you were talking about George Price. Even though he was on the upper echelon of society, he was not above picking up trash.
No, that's right.
Key and critical, because you know what? This was key in what you said. Most people feel they're above picking up trash, which is interesting. They threw it down, but now you don't want to pick it up because you feel you're above it, but you had it in your hand and you were drinking or eating or whatever. So I'm not sure I understand that concept, but we have to work together. What's team stand for? Together, everybody achieves more. And we have to teach our kids that. And that's the biggest thing going back as an educator, as a teacher. You know, I applaud all of the teachers out there because I know what it's like not to have a huge income, but you're teaching others to have a better life. And it's a dedication to a craft that has been choked out. Our governments have not funded those arenas as good as they could. I inspire all the leaders to look at what we're doing to inspire our teachers to help students aspire to their best selves with better educational programs. And that's why we put together with the Squirrelsville books the educational program that goes with it. So any of the teachers, any of the schools, if you would like to implement those programs, I and my fiance, we are more than happy at any given time to utilize those, bring them to the kids, teach the teachers how to utilize those programs. They're fun. They're inspiring. They teach good values.
Yeah.
They give, understanding a little bit of math, understanding science, and getting the behaviors in these kids in the moldable years before they're past that point where, because here's the thing, between 3 and 7 years old is the window to teach the behaviors of what that little individual is going to grow up to be. It's a critical time, and that's why we started building the book system based on that age category, because we know it's the moldable years of what that little soldier is going to become as a soldier of life later down the line. We have to make sure we mold them properly and at the time frame, because once they're 8, 9, 10 years old, psychology has proven it's too late.
Yeah.
It's very difficult. So we're going to spend the rest of our life in Belize working with these children, working with the families. The books aren't written for kids. They're built for the parent to aspire to their best selves, and the same with the child. So I really look forward to some of you all reading the books. And like you said earlier about the fires, because we're 102 degrees today. So fires are prevalent. The book right behind your head, that is about forest fires. And what you need to do. There's a glossary in the back that helps children to understand, instead of panic, what you need to do in the event that you see something smoldering. That's the start of a fire. And or if you see a fire, you find an adult and let them know. Obviously, in rural areas, it's very difficult, and they usually have to burn themselves out. But at least you can prepare that you're not caught in the line of fire. And that teaches those skill sets, let alone, like you said, about our ocean. So let me go back to the reef. So the coral reef systems that we built in Florida were decimated and killed off in 4 days. Because as you just mentioned, the temperature, that was a great segue, by the way, is that the temperatures rose so high that the temperatures hit 3 to 4 degrees higher in the ocean than they are normally set at. So a half a degree off higher in the Great Barrier Reef is what killed off the Great Barrier Reef. And so 3 degrees, we do not have corals that are resilient enough to live, and it bleached all the corals in 4 days in Florida. Well, that reef runs down all the way down through this area. It has now hit Belize. We have now filmed and seen the bleaching of the corals here because of the temperature inversions. So it makes me cringe when you talk about 102, 103 degrees, an extended drought. That's not something good. Even as we talked about, my well's running dry where we're at. We're desperate for water. Also remember something, everybody. The world, this is what's crazy, even though we're 80% water, 3% of it is fresh, drinkable water.
Wow.
We are running out of water. Technically, there's only enough fresh water for 4.5 billion people on the planet, and there's 7.5 billion. So that's a problem. There will be wars over water that are already evolving because there's countries that have none.
Paul, you want to say that again? Please repeat that again, because it's very important. This is very, very important. And sometimes we always would listen that Belize Water Services would take out some little ads. They would be putting it on Facebook. They would be putting it on flyers. You see it in the newspaper to conserve water. And this is very important. I didn't even thought about.
It's critical. It's
Yeah,
where
you just said something that hit me, Paul. Out of all the water in the world, 3%.
it's a crazy anomaly.
3% is drinking water.
And the other will kill you.
3%.
Isn't that crazy that we're a water planet?
3% of it is drinking water, and it can only give drinks to how much?
4.5 billion people
and we
have water resources left on the planet.
And how much people in the world?
7.5 billion
7.5
people.
billion.
So 3 billion people are without water today.
Wow.
3 billion. I know it's hard to wrap your head around. That's why you have starving children and dehydrated children dying every second in South America, and not these are countries not far away. Even California, before this big rain hit a while back, they had literally cities drying up. People had no water and had to abandon their homes literally 2 hours out of Los Angeles, one of the biggest metroplexes in the world. 2 hours out of there, people had to move away from their homes because there was no water left. So it is domestic now. It isn't in just South Africa. And here's the thing in Belize, and I'm teaching my family this. It's critical, and I'm learning a lot too, because we came from areas where, even on ambergris, that you could just leave the shower running or leave the water on when you're brushing your teeth. So what we do now to conserve, we wet ourselves down, put our shampoo in, put our soap on, and then rinse it off and get out of the shower. We don't sit there letting the water run. Turn the water off. If you're washing dishes, don't let the faucet just run. You're removing water from your own family, but other people that might suffer also. And so, as community, we have to come together to conserve our resources. And that's called, like we just talked about, compounding. Save a penny today, save 2 tomorrow. The next day you have 4. The next day you have 8. The next day you have 16. Now we do the same with water because it's more precious than money. Because I can tell you this, remember COVID where you couldn't go to work and didn't have any money? It sure was nice to have some water, wasn't it?
Wow.
You know, because you couldn't even go to the grocery store hardly to get food because we were cut off from everything. But you had water. So you realize at that point, if you stop to think about, water was gold at that point. And then boom, all of a sudden, no more COVID. And then we start wiping it all out again. So start thinking about that what happens if there is another COVID and we're wiping out the water resources so bad and we're in an extended drought that's happening around the world. And think about if you ran out of water in the moment of 2 years of shutdown through another COVID virus.
Wow. This is amazing, Paul. Paul, you know, sometimes when we listen to these things, you know, it's very important, you know, and sometimes I feel guilty.
Absolutely.
You're making me feel guilty of certain things, you know, Paul, and they how it feels. But really, sometimes you go, you want to drink some water, and you open that faucet, and literally the water is hot. It's really hot. You have to throw away water so that it can cool down until you feel the water is cool, you know, and how we are wasting water in the country of Belize. How the Belizean people would leave their faucets just to throw away water. And we need this. We need it not only to drink but to eat, because without watering the plants, we need fresh water to water the plants. We need main and again, Belize is a blessed country. Honestly, we are the heart of the Caribbean. We are the pearl. No, we are the heart of Central America, the pearl of the Caribbean, and the hidden gem of the world. And how blessed are we, Paul, in having all these waters in the country of Belize. Streams, rivers, lagoons. Main, we call it Ojo de Agua. Those water spouts that you can find around Maine. Amazing.
It is, because here's the thing of what you just said. You all pull a map out of the world, all rivers, lakes, streams, all of that centrally run to the ocean. And so everything feeds itself. So that's why you think about, well, how does the ocean affect me? Well, if you live by a river or a stream or a lake and you've got rubbish laying around, that's going to end up in the ocean. The other part is, how much food comes from the ocean? Do you know toothpaste is from algae? Most toothpaste you put in your mouth is from algae source. And so there's your ocean right there in your mouth.
There's your ocean.
In your mouth every day, brushing your teeth if you brush your teeth, and I hope you are. And so, I'm going to continue to educate, because here's the thing about just talking about this, and now there's a shock wave. There's some information now arriving that becomes pertinent to life and the future of our children. It takes 21 days to create a habit in a human. 21 days.
21 days to create a habit.
So, and don't get me wrong, the 22nd day you go, okay, I got a great habit. No, it doesn't work that way. You have to exercise that habit. And so we're going to work together. Sonny and I are going to continue educational series to help keep everybody on track. You want to know why I say that works? Because it's just like if you've ever done fitness and you had a fitness instructor, even for a little bit of time in your life, they keep you on track to keep that Twinkie and ding dong and the chips out of your mouth. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to help you keep the chips out of your mouth so you can have a bottle of water instead. And that's going to be key. Here's the thing, like you said on faucets, here's you an idea, everybody. Take a big old pot like you're going to make some soup and put that under that faucet until you run that hot out. And then put that to the side because you can boil it later. Don't waste butane. Go throw some wood on a fire and stick that out there. And or you use that for whatever you're growing. So don't let that water go back down that drain. That's going to be key to survival. Because here's the thing. We're no longer living. We're now surviving. We are in survival mode. COVID leveled the playing field on that. And here's the thing. Anybody that had COVID and couldn't breathe well, now you know the whole thing about oxygen.
Yeah.
You know, you were begging to be able to breathe. You were hoping you weren't going to die. You were begging for it. And then, boom, all of a sudden, hey, COVID's gone. And then you just start sucking air like nobody's business. So we have to be very in tune in our mind of what we are using up every day that one day we will not have. And that you might outlive it, but your kids won't.
Yeah.
We won't. We will kill them off because they will have no resources to sustain life. And that's really the story. That's why Squirrelsville's written. It's to inspire the parent to teach good behaviors to the kid, and the kid to learn behaviors to help the adult change their bad behaviors that they learn.
Yeah.
Critical.
Amazing, Paul. That's very amazing, and definitely I want this to happen. I want this to really be something that the Belizean people will happen, because you know, another thing that we keep on saying, when we are in Belize, it's easy for us to just take our plastic bags, our trash, and just throw it out the window or throw it on our path, and we continue going, smiling, happy as ever. But when we go to Mexico, when we just cross the border and we are in Mexico, and if we would purchase a Doritos, we purchase a juice, when you see moms giving it to their children, and as soon as their children are done with the Doritos, they are done with the juice, you see them taking away the garbage and putting it in their big purse. They don't throw it in Cheromal because they are afraid that the cops or even those people that work would see them.
Yep.
And they would fine them. That's a serious offense in Mexico. Until we have a dirty Mexico anyway, but that's how it works.
Absolutely.
But you know, Paul, in Belize, we as Belizeans, you know, I admire you a lot, you know, just in some words that you have said. You are more Belizean than ever, you know, and you love this country. You see where you can heal this broken country, you know, by teaching the kids with your books a day at the beach, and what to do, you know, when we talk about the reef, how important it is, when we talk about keeping the place clean. Eduardo says, good morning, Sonny. I was listening to you and Paul about keeping Orange Walk clean. He is right. We should do that all over the Jewel, not only in Orange Walk, but the whole country. So when we have visitors come to Belize, they see that our Jewel is nice and clean. We should always keep it that way. Okay, thank you, my brother Paul. Magdalena Vasquez, good morning. Ms. Barbara McLaughlin says, new respect for my nephew, Daniel, who does great work saving our marine life. You know, and that is what we would like to see. You know, there is a new curriculum at high schools by marine biology.
Awesome.
Yeah, you know, and kids are into this, you know. We can see right now the government of Belize with the blue economy, they are doing a lot of work.
Yep.
And sometimes we don't understand.
Of course.
We don't understand certain things, Paul, that is happening out there.
Yes, sir.
And those of us that are fish lovers, and we can only get a fish on certain period of time.
Yep.
And we get upset because it's here. And they're the fishermen that have made their bank loans, their mortgages at the banks, and they need to pay. They need to do what they got to do.
Yes.
But then there are many obstacles now for them in their lives, in their fishing business, and sometimes our emotions drive us more to them than the reality
Of course.
of what it will be tomorrow for our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren, our great-great-great-grandchildren, Paul. And this is what is important for us to understand. And I am so happy that you are here explaining that this morning, that the reef means so much to us. A clean Belize means so much to us. And we are asking you, the Belizean people, te pedimos a ti, Orinjoaqueño, a ti, norteño, a ti, beliceño, a donde te encuentres, a donde sea que estés, en qué país estás, simplemente trata lo mejor de tener un país limpio. Tira tu basura a donde debe que estar. No estés tirando la basura donde sea. Vamos a mantener un Belice limpio. Vamos a mantener un Belice que realmente sea la luz del mundo. A Belize that can be the light of the world. That when people come to see us, they will say, man, if I only could have my country like Belize. A clean Belize. As a Belize that will save life. That will save so much in breeding healthy. All the different stuff that we have in Belize. When people come to Belize and see nature at its best, the green canopies that we have in this country, the beautiful canopies, and definitely for some would be just knock down as much as we can and plant more sugar cane, plant more oranges, more bananas, plant more corn and beans, and let's make money, because that's what is in our hearts and our minds, making money, doing what we should be doing. But life is more than just money. We can see that this is a serious issue that is affecting the country, it's affecting the world. And Paul is here with his little book, Squirrels, a day at the beach. How to keep Belize clean, how to keep your area clean, how to do what you got to do. And these books are available for any teacher, cualquier maestro, maestra que quieran estar haciendo esto. Y tú tienes la oportunidad. Hello, good morning, Power FM, you're on the air, adelante.
Morning, Sonny Vice.
Morning.
Quisiera decir que aparece de que BL va a ser blackout en el norte, en Orinjoac, pero dicen la hora solo el ton va a ser de 11 a 2 y todos los villages, pero no sé qué horas. Yo creo que BL debiera de informar al público, porque es importante, ¿verdad? Saber qué horas nos va a sacar corriente.
El horario, la verdad no estoy
¿Tú sabes
seguro.
de eso, Sonny? Yo iba a apreciar que si dijeran las horas de las aldeas, ¿verdad? Que le va a tocar Buenavista, Caledonia.
Ajá.
Pero no sabemos la hora y qué horas va a terminar. Orinjoac es de las 11 a las 2, pero las aldeas, creo que de 4, pero no sé hasta cuándo va a durar. Si supieras, te iba a agradecer que nos anuncies, ¿verdad? Para las aldeas.
Claro, tan pronto nosotros lo consigamos, yo le prometo que lo vamos a estar anunciando.
Bueno, gracias, Ani.
Bueno, gracias. Okay. Definitely, the gentleman is saying about power outages. Again, Paul started this morning talking about solar power. Yes. Prime Minister of Belize, John Briceño, just came back from somewhere in the Middle East, and again has pledged that the first 20 megawatt solar park will be starting I think at Bomba.
Yes.
At the old Mascal Road. That's
Yes.
the first 20 megawatts park will be starting to assemble, and then there will be 2 more parks that will be assembled in the country of Belize, giving us 60 megawatts, somewhere where the amount of electricity that we get from Mexico. And definitely we heard about the turbines, the gas turbines that Belize has, and that will be expensive. And when we get things that are expensive, especially when these companies would have to invest in expensive supply, then those of us who are the consumers will be ending up paying more electricity, more bills, and that's something we have to look at. Esas son cosas que tenemos que ver, porque de veras que está seria la situación. Y sí, don Lucino, tan pronto que escuchemos de BEL, Belize Electricity Limited, we will be informing you. He is getting word that there will be another series of blackouts, of power outages. But at this time, I can't say, because I haven't seen nothing from Belize Electricity Limited. But as soon as we do get anything, we will be informing. Right now, we are informing you to keep Belize clean, to throw your garbage where it is necessary, to do what the things that are right. Let us save the reef. You know, Paul started this morning talking about why he came to Belize, how he came to Belize, and what he saw in Belize, and how important the corals are for the reef, and how all of these works, Paul, you were doing to save the reef.
Well, we're a tourist country. Here's my question I ask everybody. How do you think that you're going to continue to sustain your businesses or the food you eat or the food you sell if we're warding people off, or that it's a dirty country? We're not even taking care of our own places and spaces. And it starts with the reef, because most everything that happens in Belize is reef-oriented. It is the health of Belize. The Mesoamerican reef, it supplies oxygen through Central America and Northern America. It's the only reef we have. And it's like me coming from Oklahoma. I never even saw the ocean till I was in my 30s. It wasn't talked about. All we had was dirty rivers, dirty streams, all of this stuff that, we had cows around, so people weren't thinking about the fish. They were catching catfish and stuff out of the lakes and streams and all of that. So it took me till my 30s until I first saw the ocean, and I didn't understand it, but I knew the power of what God was putting me in front of. And I stayed a servant. I am a servant. Don't mistake my position of what I am. I am a servant to God and the people. And I don't have a choice of anything different, because I only choose God, and I'm not going any other direction in that space. And He puts challenges in front of us and hurdles that we have to jump over and climb to be able to make Belize a better place. And we're not going to stop, and we're going to educate. Now, I encourage everybody, just from Orange Walk alone, because we're a small community, let's be the example for the rest of Belize and the rest of the world. Because we're small enough that if we all come collectively together, we can make a huge difference for our community. Yeah. And then we can get that out to the world via Facebook, all of these other wonderful tools that you put together with the wonderful radio show. And we can drive this around the world, and we can be the face of resurrection of communities, of sustainability for the future, of protecting the one gold resource we have left, and it's getting very small, and that's water. We have to conserve water at a pace that you just don't understand. And I'm not trying to scare everybody. I'm trying to educate everybody on what we have to do. It's critical. And there's a lot of components to it, but you can just make it simple, easy. Don't accept straws at a restaurant. That's a big factor. More animals are dying from straws because they get caught in their nostrils. They swallow them. Here's the other thing. We've done autopsies on so many animals that had 20 to 30 different plastics in their belly and stuck in their intestines that they died from because they don't know the difference between plastic and food. They'll just see an object they're flying around, come down and hit it, and it's a bottle cap. And they swallow it, and now they can't digest any food, and they die. And so we have a responsibility to all living creatures. And Belize is a mecca of all these different creatures, birds to oceanic stuff to jaguars, you name it, it's across the board. What are we putting in these animals? Because we have just destroyed the environment. So now we have a duty to clean it up, be responsible with what you take from restaurants, be responsible with what you're doing with your rubbish. Take a few seconds because you know what? It feels good to know you're making a difference. Don't be part of the problem, be part of the solution. And that's what makes you feel like you're part of the team because everybody is a planetary hero. And so we can all make a difference together. And I think that's probably the best message. And by the way, on solar, just like you put together solar today, and you were talking about that neighbor that couldn't even turn his refrigerator on. And you know what? Sonny was so nice. He gave him 5 panels of solar panels. And this guy's, you were talking about how happy his wife is that he's got, a refrigerator that works now. It's the little things that make you so appreciative when you don't have them anymore. And I can tell you this, when you don't have water, I'm telling you, we can't survive. We won't survive it. There's no way. Everything. And we don't have desalination units around the world that are effective. The cost of water would be so high that you would have millions and billions die off very quickly. So the other side is, and I wanted to save a little bit this for the end because we also provide, we want to try to help people with jobs. People that can have a little bit extra. If you're going to work all day, it's hard to work a second job when you got to come home for your family and resources are tough and tight. We aren't rich. And so one of the things I wanted to be very clear of because of what we speak about with Belize, we understand the hardships because we come from that. And that's what makes us a better part of the community because when wealthy people come into areas, they usually consume up everything and use up the people as slaves to get their businesses making money, and they don't pass it down. Well, we're not part of that. It's like we own the Pink Taco on Ambergris Key, and it's designed not for the people visiting. It's designed for the people that live there. We have indoor dining. It's a very small place. Indoor dining with street taco prices. It's 36-hour slow-cooked pork, slow-cooked chicken, and brisket on Thursdays. But our giant tacos aren't a little smeared on something on a little tortilla and you're going to get 3 for $1. This is where your family's going to go home full, and it's cost you $4 to $8 to do it. And so we didn't want to steal from Belize. We wanted to add to the value of Belize. And that's the key right there. And we're going to open another Pink Taco. We're going to do it here in Orange Walk and to give the same back because we want everybody's tummies full. As I always say, when you leave eating, your wallet's not going to be depleted and you're going to feel like you need a hammock because you're so full that you need a nap. And it's critical. I don't want you leaving that you just got a little bit of food in your tummy and then 2 hours later your kid's starving to death. And so we want to work in those spaces because we come from that space. We aren't above anybody. We are part of you just the same as you and your kids and your family. And that's what makes it normalized because we're grounded. We want to work and band together to make everything better. And it's one step at a time. I know this is a lot of overwhelming information, but the key is we're going to just work together because it's going to become the way.
Wow. Okay. Pa, like how the guy, a guy from Orange Walk went to the United States, and he was there for almost 16 years before he wedded a girl in America. The girl had an American papers, so he got his papers, his American papers. And once he got his residency, then he could have traveled. So he came back home. And one of the first things he did, he came for tacos. And a big surprise to what 15, 16 years ago was when they give you a big fat taco with a lot of chicken in it. And now it's just it's just being
Smeared. Smeared.
Yeah, being smeared with the gravy. So he said, man, we no longer have chicken tacos, but we have smeared tacos. But one thing I'll tell you, it's nice. It's nice. You know, and that's what Orange Walk is doing for its tacos. We have all different types of tacos, and soon they're gonna be the pink.
The pink taco. So if you
pink
go to
tacos.
the pink taco _BZ, we're on Instagram and Facebook, but you can see pictures of our food. And our tacos are actually, we make those tortillas there, and they are actually pink. It is, huh? Yes, our employees are actually from Orange Walk. And so we have already
Well, you better get Orange Walk to people from Orange Walk, because those are the best taqueros that we have in Orange
That's
Walk.
it. And the thing is, y'all are our family. We want to be taken care of, and we want to take care of everybody also. We're going to hold hands together through this adventure called life and sustain it on a multitude of different levels. We're survivors, and that's one thing that I love about Orange Walk and Belize. Everybody bands together. There's no excuses. And I've seen that, people that, most people would call a suffering lifestyle, that are the happiest people I've ever met and known in my life. And I think that's one of the greatest parts about what we have here is a smiling face and a hand wave, that everybody still, in a large sense, loves each other. And for all of you all that are having a rough time, you know what? I hope after today and some of the things we'll put together that you feel like there's a little more sunshine in your life, not at the 103-degree level, but maybe at about 87 to 91 degrees with a breeze. But we're going to continue working together. We are with 95.5, definitely. We have entities around the world. One of the ways that we've been able to sustain and make things better is because we've inspired other companies and investors to help us, because they believe in making the world better too. Plus, they've got to write stuff off on their taxes, and so it helps to be able to get a little bit of that they would pay the IRS or tax services to put that forth into the communities. And so that's why we are always on the phones working to get more funding into these specific locations. We don't ever get the money ourselves. We make sure it goes straight to the source. And that's one of the big differences that we've watched around the world, is that monies will get allocated by governments or private institutions, and the money never makes it to the source.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to knock that. That's kind of the way of the world and has been forever. But that's not how we do it as Planetary Heroes. And that you can go to planetaryheroes.com, by the way. That is a lot of information about some of the sustainability work that we do. You'll see some of my great National Geographic shots. And by the way, just to clear something up, I was one of the only ones there at LJT, National Geographic, working out of the LA area, that I never was paid. I never took a dime. That was 15 years. I never took a penny. We always, if we had something that we needed to do to give back to the people or to the animals of the world, it wasn't about money. I did
Wow.
it. I always say I'm the richest man you'll ever meet, and it has nothing to do with my wallet. It has everything to do with my heart, because God will create the riches in your soul because you feel you're making a difference, you're making people happy, and that's what makes me happy.
Thank you so much, Paul. Paul, you have some greetings here from Liz Q. Magani. A big up Mr. Paul Budget and Jordan Young. Scruffin Castillo says, pongan la basura en su lugar. It is 8:58 here in studios. That's 8:58 minutos. Estamos aquí con Paul Budget. Escuchamos muchas cosas. Aprendimos muchas cosas el día de hoy. No será el último. Okay, We're here with Paul this morning. We heard a lot. We learned a lot. But this will not be our last one. Paul, before you go, I want to hear your final words here on the Power Show on Power FM 95.5.
My final words are this. We love you, Belize. We love all of y'all here in Orange Walk, and we're here to stay. We're not going anywhere. I don't care where you come from in the walks of life and how good or bad or whatever. We're going to help you. We're going to elevate you because we're your friend. And team, remember this, stands for this. Together, everybody achieves more. Thank you for having us on the show today. We look forward to more with you, Sonny.
Thank you so much, Paul. Paul, muchas gracias. Estamos hablando con Paul, escuchamos muchas cosas. Tenemos muchas cosas que hablar, muchas cosas que nos afectan, pero aprendimos hoy. De veras que aprendimos. El océano, qué importante es el océano para nosotros. Qué importante es poder respirar un aliento fresco, un aliento bien rico. ¿Por qué crees que mucha gente de Europa, los Estados Unidos, de todo el mundo, están buscando Belice y el arrecife en Belice? ¿Por qué? Porque Belice es el número 1. We are the number 1. Thank you, Ms. Barbara McLaughlin. Thank you, Victor Castaneda, Ms. Jim Middleton. Thank you so much. Eduardo Izaguirre, muchas gracias. Y todos que escuchan el 95.5, yo le quiero darle las gracias a ustedes y les voy a decir, esta noche estaremos con otro segmento de música romántica. Por ahora les voy a decir que mañana, mismo lugar, misma hora, con otro de sus programas número 1, Despierta Belice, la cultura norteña. Aquí me despido yo. Gracias. Gracias siempre por estar con nosotros. Thank you. See you tonight, ¿ok? Música romántica.
Home, home, sweet home, Belize, sweet home, Belize, sweet home, Belize. Home, home, sweet home, Belize. There is not a place so fine. Take me back to my home, Belize, old home, Belize, old home, Belize. Take me back to my old home, Belize. There is not a place so fine. Home, sweet home, Belize, sweet home, Belize, sweet home, Belize. Home, sweet home, Belize. There is not a place so fine.
the beat. Power Hit Radio. Feel the beat. Power Hit Radio.
The Thailand Stone Center is doing bigger and better just because you are #1 moms. The Thailand Stone Center is slashing prices, 25% discount for the entire month of May. 25% discount on kitchen tiles, bathroom tiles, floor tiles, wall tiles. 25% discount on tiles. 25% discount on all Helvex guaranteed quality bathroom furniture. Helvex toilets and basins in different sizes and colors. Helvex kitchen valves, basin valves, shower valves. Helvex bathroom